If you can't control your emotions, people will control you. Most people believe feeling lost only happens when life is falling apart. But what if the opposite is true? What if the most confusing moments happen when everything seems fine on the surface? You have a job. You follow your routine. You maintain your responsibilities. Nothing appears seriously wrong. Yet deep inside, something feels disconnected. A persistent sense of emptiness. A lack of direction. A feeling that life is moving forward while you remain emotionally stuck. Welcome to a space dedicated to understanding the human mind and modern emotions, helping people better understand anxiety, relationships, behavior patterns, and the silent thoughts that shape everyday life. In today's video, we will explore the hidden psychological reasons why so many people feel lost despite having stability, achievements, and a seemingly normal life. You will discover how your mind creates meaning, why emotional disconnection often goes unnoticed, how modern habits influence your sense of purpose, and the subtle psychological patterns that can leave you feeling unfulfilled even when nothing appears to be wrong. If you stay until the end, you'll understand why this feeling is far more common than most people realize, what psychology reveals about this internal conflict, and how recognizing these patterns can help you reconnect with a stronger sense of clarity, purpose, and emotional direction. Because the real problem is often not the absence of success, relationships, or opportunities. The real problem is losing connection with yourself while everything around you appears to be working. And most people never realize it's happening until years have already passed. So if you've ever looked at your life and quietly wondered, why do I still feel lost when everything is fine? This video may explain more than you expect. Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, everything seems fine? So why do I feel so lost? Maybe your bills are paid. Maybe your routine is stable. Maybe nothing is falling apart. Yet there's this quiet feeling you can't explain. You wake up, go through the day, check your notifications, talk to people, complete your responsibilities, and still feel like something important is missing. What makes this so frustrating is that there's no obvious problem to point at. If you were going through a crisis, at least the feeling would make sense. But when life looks normal and you still feel disconnected, it creates a different kind of confusion. Many people assume feeling lost means they need a new job, a new relationship, or a major life change. But often, the real issue is much deeper. The human mind is constantly searching for meaning, direction, and emotional connection. When days become repetitive and everything turns into routine, your brain can slowly stop feeling engaged, even when things are technically going well. That's why so many people feel exhausted without working harder, lonely while surrounded by others, or emotionally numb in the middle of an ordinary day. And what's even more surprising is that this feeling rarely appears overnight. It builds quietly in the background, often long before you realize it's there. What most people don't realize is that feeling lost is rarely caused by a lack of direction. In many cases, it's caused by living on autopilot for so long that you stop noticing what your mind is actually doing. The brain is designed to save energy whenever possible. Once a routine becomes familiar, it starts running in the background with very little conscious attention. You wake up at the same time, follow the same habits, have similar conversations, consume the same content, and repeat the same patterns day after day. First, this feels comfortable. But over time, something unexpected begins to happen. When life becomes too predictable, your mind stops actively engaging with it. You may still be functioning, but you're no longer fully present. This creates a strange emotional gap where your days feel busy, yet strangely empty. Socially, it can become even more noticeable. You attend gatherings, reply to messages, scroll through updates, and stay connected to people, but many of those interactions happen automatically. Instead of feeling connected, you feel like you're observing your own life from a distance. The hidden pattern is that the brain often mistakes familiarity for fulfillment. Just because something is comfortable doesn't mean it's meaningful. And when that confusion continues long enough, it starts changing how you see yourself, your relationships, and even the future you once felt excited about. And this is where the effect starts showing up in ways most people never connect to that feeling of being lost. It doesn't just stay in your head. It slowly begins to shape your behavior. You may start turning down invitations without realizing why. Conversations feel more exhausting than they used to, You spend time with friends, coworkers, or even family, yet somehow leave those interactions feeling unchanged. Not because the people around you are the problem, but because your mind is no longer fully engaged in the experience. Over time, this changes the way you show up socially. You become more passive, less curious, less willing to share what you're really thinking. You start giving shorter answers, avoiding deeper conversations, and staying within the safety of familiar routines. The strange part is that from the outside, everything may still look normal. People see you functioning. They see you working, responding, participating. But internally, there's a growing distance between who you are and how you experience your own life. This creates a psychological cycle that reinforces itself. The less emotionally connected you feel, the less energy you bring into your relationships. The less energy you bring, the fewer meaningful moments you experience. And when meaningful moments become rare, your brain quietly uses that as evidence that nothing is changing. Before long, you may begin questioning your confidence, your purpose, or even your place in the world without realizing that the process started much earlier than you thought. And when you go even deeper into this feeling of being lost, something important starts to appear underneath it. It's not only about what is happening in your life right now, but about how your mind has learned to interpret experiences over time. Your brain doesn't store moments as isolated events. It stores emotional patterns. Every situation where you felt ignored, uncertain, pressured, or disconnected doesn't just disappear. It gets stored as a reference point for future reactions, even if you don't consciously remember it. That's why certain feelings can show up without a clear reason. A simple quiet evening, a message left unanswered, or a normal day without excitement can trigger a deeper emotional response than expected. Not because the present moment is negative, but because your mind is comparing it to older emotional experiences that were never fully processed. This creates repetition without awareness. You start reacting today with emotional responses built from yesterday, or even years ago, without realizing the connection. Over time, this repetition builds a familiar internal pattern. You may notice the same emotional cycles appearing in different environments, different relationships, and different stages of life. The situations change, but the emotional outcome feels strangely similar. And the more this happens, the more your mind begins to assume this is just how you are, when in reality, it's a learned response built from accumulated emotional memory shaping how you experience the present. The turning point doesn't come from fixing everything at once. It comes from noticing what has been happening inside you without your awareness. When you start recognizing that this feeling of being lost is not random, but part of a repeating psychological pattern, something subtle begins to shift. You stop treating every emotional wave as a new problem, and instead start seeing it as information your mind has been repeating for a long time. This changes the way you interpret your own thoughts. Instead of immediately believing that something is wrong with your life every time that emptiness appears, you begin to understand it as a familiar mental response triggered by routine, emotional memory, and disconnection from meaningful experiences. The feeling doesn't disappear instantly, but your relationship with it starts to change. It no longer defines you in the same way it used to, and in that space of awareness, your behavior slowly begins to adjust on its own. Not through forced motivation or sudden decisions, but through small shifts in how you respond to your daily life. You start observing instead of reacting. You start questioning instead of assuming. And over time, that distance between reaction and awareness becomes the place where change actually begins to form, without needing anything dramatic to force it. And maybe the most unsettling part of all of this is realizing how quiet these shifts are. There is no obvious moment where everything changes. No clear signal that tells you when you started feeling disconnected, or when your mind began operating on autopilot, or when your emotions stopped fully matching your present life. It all happens in small fragments, inside ordinary days that look completely normal from the outside. You keep moving through routines, conversations, responsibilities, and distractions, while something inside slowly recalibrates how you experience all of it. And because nothing feels dramatically wrong, it becomes easier to ignore the subtle distance forming between you and your own life. Not because you don't care, but because the mind adapts to what it repeats most often. So the question is not really about finding a sudden answer or a final resolution. It's about how many moments have already passed where you were present, but not fully connected to yourself while they were happening. And how many more of those moments will feel the same before you even realize they were meaningful. If you stayed until the end, comment below what part of this hit you the most. I want to know what you connected with in this video. And if this made you think differently about yourself, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications, because this channel exists for exactly this kind of reflection on the mind, emotions, and human behavior. There's also another video on the screen right now that goes even deeper into how your thoughts quietly shape your emotional reality, and a full playlist on psychological behavior and self-understanding waiting for you to explore next. Take your time, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.